You got to see how these European countries are like offing themselves. It's honestly insane. So Germany just passed this new law. Male citizens aged 17 to 45 are no longer allowed to leave Germany without permission under a newly enacted military conscription rule. All right, this is the new German law. I talked about this in my previous video because this means that if you're an Afghanistan guy, you could leave Afghanistan. All right, but if you're a German guy, you can't leave. All right, where is the liberty? All right, like, you know, they talk about how El Salvador is like a dictatorship and stuff. Anyone in El Salvador can go visit wherever they want, all right? That's literally how it works in El Salvador. In Germany, all right, the based liberal democracy, you can't do that anymore. But what I didn't actually cover, because I didn't know about this, Germans are losing their mind, right? The left-wing Germans are freaking out because... What do you mean? Male citizens age 17 to 45 no longer allowed to leave Germany. What about the women? Are they not needed for the military? You mean to tell me that gender is not a social construct anymore? An entire generation of men repeatedly told gender is a social construct only for them to have the rug pulled out from under them because of their gender, which the law evidently has decided is very much not a social construct. What's radicalizing the men? So the reality is, men and women, the whole like egalitarian equality movement is like, it's based on a lie. Because there will never be equality forever. There cannot be inherent equality in every single metric when men are expected to die to protect women. All right, that's literally just an objective fact, and we're seeing it right here. This is the most lib-cucked ideology of all time. We got woke Germany, ladies and gentlemen. They have millions of Afghans in Germany. All right, woke Germany out here being like, of course transgenderism is based. Of course everyone can be whatever you want, identify however you like. But the men have to stay in the country because we need them for the military. It's just the most radicalizing shit in the world. You know, it's not equal rights if the men are expected to die for the women. You know, it's not equality if the men still have a draft and the women can get, you know, the women could vote, but the men still have to have a draft. Pretty weird how that happens. You know, it's the most radicalizing shit in the world when you realize that you were told about this whole equality thing when it is an inherently irrational position. I think that's honestly the most radicalizing part of it all. It's not that it's like a logical position. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't make sense. It has flaws. There are other more logical positions. No. It is an inherently irrational position. Feminism isn't just dumb. It's irrational. Ultimately, for laws to be upheld, it needs to be through force, and as Germany has just proven, force is owned by men. So in order for feminism to actually exist and the laws of feminism to be enforced, it needs to rely on a patriarchy of men to enforce those laws. It is an inherently backwards system, and Germany is scared now because they have all these immigrants in the country and they don't want to be conquered from the inside, so they need to maintain an actual military presence of men, specifically. Completely and utterly cucked. It's insane. Meanwhile, this is a French girl attacked and humiliated by a group of invaders. You know, look at this. Isn't that cool? Look at that.
Redis-nous, on est des putes. Redis-nous, on est des putes. Ah là, tu vas voir.
Just humiliated and beaten in public, you know, as they taunt on Allah, on the Quran, wallah. Get these unwanted, unneeded vermin out of our countries, dude. Honestly, true. It's honestly insane, man. So Spain has been one of the wokest, dumb fuck countries of all time, and it has been really, really, really satisfying watching the people actually rise up against this fucking dickhead. So Pedro Sanchez, as Elon Musk calls him, he's a dictator. All right. So Pedro Sanchez, an absolute, in my opinion, fraudster retard. He let in 500,000 illegal aliens and just poof, naturalized. They made them citizens so they could all vote for him so he could win elections. All right, so this is him talking about how, you know, he doesn't want to help the United States.
Hace 23 años, otra administración estadounidense nos arrastró a una guerra en Oriente.
Basically what he's saying is 23 years ago, the U.S. dragged us into Iraq, claiming to destroy Saddam's nukes and bring democracy. No nukes were ever found. You can't fool us twice. You know, we're not going to help you. We're not helping you. So Pedro Sanchez didn't let us use their air bases, isn't paying NATO the 2% or 5% or whatever they were supposed to be paying. They're not paying NATO because they're peaceful. They're so peaceful. They're literally not paying NATO, but still somehow getting NATO protections. They should get booted out of NATO for obvious reasons, but we should be leaving NATO. So I don't actually give a fuck if they're scamming NATO because I think we need to leave. The reality is Pedro Sanchez has been allying up with the Islamic Republic of Iran constantly, and you wonder why. Another communist Islamist alliance because they both want the destruction of Western civilization. All right, so this guy is in charge charge of Spain, and there is a reason why Spain is an absolute shithole. You know, he's also, you know, while Spain is dying, as I'm going to show you in a second, you know, he's constantly talking about the government of Spain condemns the death penalty against Palestinians. All right, this is talking about Palestinian terrorists that murdered people, by the way. And it's not specifically only Palestinians. This is a death penalty in Israel that is instituted against terrorists that murder people. This is a based actually. We should be executing people that murder people. That Israel's parliament just approved. It's asymmetric measure that would not be applied to Israelis who committed the same offenses. This is just not true. Same crime, different penalty. It's just a lie. Not justice. One step toward apartheid. Literally not true. Also, every single Muslim country is apartheid. The world cannot remain silent. You know, bros out there virtue signaling for Palestine, shit like that. Thank you, President. You are the greatest, says a Palestinian. All right, dude, we got it. All right, we get it. You're pandering to the Islamists that you're bringing into the country to vote for you. We get it. Very cool. Awesome sauce. Love that. But the people are not happy. This is Pedro Sanchez's Spain. Oh my fucking god. Just brutal shit everywhere. This is Spain. Wouldn't you want to live in this apartment building? They just let in infinite Moroccans and Africans and everybody, and then all of a sudden their place goes to shit? That's crazy. All right, so this is Spain. This is a guy hunting down tourists and old people, and he just, Yep. And he just harasses them because, why not? Why not just harass them? What are they going to do? Deport me? They're not going to deport me. They need my vote. And this is literally what's happening to Spain. And the people are getting really tired of it. All right, so this is an anti-Pedro Sanchez rally. All right, Pedro Sanchez, you're a son of a bitch. This is a big fucking rally. Like the actual Spanish people, very unhappy that their country is becoming a shithole. But don't worry, because Pedro Sanchez cares about Palestinian terrorists that murder people. All right, and it's everywhere. It's all over Spain that they're doing this. Right, again, Pedro Sanchez, you son of a bitch. This is crazy, because these are the patriots. Right, this isn't like the artificially funded No Kings protests in the United States, or a couple of boomer women got paid by George Soros to hold signs. Right, these are people with a visceral hatred towards this communist dictator, essentially a dictator. If he's importing people and naturalizing them for their votes, that's essentially dictatorial. All right, they hate this guy. He's ruining their country in front of them. But don't worry, because he cares about Palestinians that murder people. All right, breaking news. Spain passes Romania, becomes the EU country with the highest risk of child poverty. Wow. You mean to tell me communism doesn't work? Well, color me shocked and surprised. I was certain that communism just wasn't done properly yet. Now, of course, the major import from all these countries are Pakistanis. They're a large import because Pakistan's a shithole. Islamic terrorists in Pakistan drove a truck into a crowd of Christian worshippers during the Easter Sunday vigil. Multiple people dead, 60 injured. This is crazy, bro. Holy fuck. This is the actual genocide, man. All right, not like the fake and gay genocide in Gaza where they lost a war that they started and, their population increased since the war began. All right, not the fake gay genocides like that. But this is the real genocide. The genocide against Christians and Jews perpetrated by Islamists wherever they go. Right? These radical Islamists like Hamas, who's openly claimed to kill Jews, or like the Boko Haram openly claimed to kill Christians. The Christians massacred in Syria, in Nigeria, in all of these countries. You do realize that in Palestine, in Bethlehem. Bethlehem used to be an 85% Christian area. It is now a 10% Christian area under Palestinian Authority. Like, it's crazy watching it happen to the silence of the world, and our solution is import them into other Christian countries? Like, it's absolutely brutal. It's absolutely brutal opening your eyes and realizing the way we are getting raped by our leaders. Not Donald Trump, though, thank God. Now, of course, this is a Catholic church in Canada. You know, mysteriously after importing tons of Islamists, this started happening to churches all over Canada. It's crazy. This is so many of them. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare watching this, you know? Like, there's no one else that does this. No one. Like, it's wild. It's absolutely wild. So England is also totally occupied, as you're aware, I'm sure. This is Prince William. The royal family, Prince William.
The Muslim community show the world the true face of Islam as a religion of peace.
Yes, they do. As a religion of peace. Like, this is actually insane. Again, the royal family refused to actually get involved in celebrating Easter. But they go out there talking about how the Muslims really show the world what peacefulness looks like.
And understanding.
Do they, though? Do they
I
really?
was very moved by the stories of the great distances that your friends and families travelled to support you in your time of need, even when your previous connections had not always been frequent. They travelled here to support you because you were family, and that is what families do.
Isn't that beautiful? And now they're all citizens. Wow. They're doing it just because they love family. And also, they really like young British girls. Also, they very much like the idea of welfare. They very much like the idea that a Christian man could be working his butt off and paying taxes, and those taxes could go to them. They very much like that, too.
They drop everything when it is needed. People of all faiths and backgrounds can learn a great deal from how the Muslim families affected by the 15th of March attacks rallied around their loved ones.
Wow. Wow.
The example provided
You do realize there's like Islamic terror attacks like once a week in England right now.
by New Zealand will prove to be of enduring value to all nations. What happened here was fueled by a warped
Hopefully not too enduring.
ideology that knows no boundaries.
Again, I don't want any hate. I don't want any. I was gonna say I don't want any hate against the radical Muslims, but that's ridiculous. Of course I do. I don't want any. I don't want any violence done. All right. I just want them peacefully deported, very peacefully deported.
The world is rightly united to fight the extremism that has made sorrowful brethren out of cities like New York.
Do you think there are any Muslim extremists, perhaps, sir?
Paris, London,
Prince?
and Manchester.
Your Highness?
And that has taken so many lives in Sri Lanka.
London and Manchester. It's funny you mention that. Did you know that every 54 minutes in London there's a rape? Did you know that? That's a pretty weird statistic. You know, it didn't used to be like that. You know, London used to be one of the safest places in the world, and now it's like one of the most dangerous places in the world. It's so weird how that happened. I wonder what changed over the last 20 years.
Yeah, in recent days.
Funny you mentioned Manchester. Isn't that where a couple of Jews were just murdered in a synagogue by Muslims?
And so too we must unite to fight the violent brand of extremism that has led to fatal shootings in a church in Charleston, South Carolina, and in a synagogue in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, a van attack on the streets of Finsbury Park in London, the murder of an MP in West Yorkshire.
For the record, he's just mentioning like terror attacks that were, you know, vaguely associated with right-wing violence or extremism. This is not against Muslims. I mean, some were, but a lot of these are not.
And now so many deaths in 2 mosques here in Christchurch. Extremism in all its forms must be defeated.
What about Islamic extremism, though? Because you guys are literally just bringing in infinite Muslims without vetting them at all.
The message from Christchurch and the message from Al Noor and Linwood mosques could not be more clear.
Yes, we obviously need to learn peace from the Muslims. True.
The global ideology of hate will fail to divide us.
Well, I sure hope it doesn't. Anyway, so moving on, King Charles did the same shit.
So Buckingham Palace confirms King Charles will not issue an Easter message this year.
That is just absolutely disgusting. Bro goes out there talking about Ramadan this, Ramadan that, skips Easter. Like, holy shit. You are so obviously occupied, it's crazy. All right, this isn't paranoia, bro. This isn't paranoia. They're raping you.
Fucking God. He swore an oath. He's a traitor. Meanwhile, for Ramadan,
Assalamu alaikum. Ramadan Mubarak. As
my
Muslims
God.
across the United Kingdom begin preparation.
When I saw this clip, I saw this clip before. I thought this was AI. I thought it was AI.
Celebrate Eid after fasting for the holy month of Ramadan.
It's actually not really fasting. It's like trans fasting. It's actually feasting, but they identify as fasting because you see, it's skipping lunch, right? Fasting Ramadan is skipping lunch. It's eating a big breakfast and then fasting all day and then eating a big dinner. That's the way you fast on Ramadan.
Wanted to convey my heartfelt best wishes and to tell you just how much my wife and I are thinking of you at this special time of year.
Yeah, I think about Muslims too sometimes, especially when they do terror attacks, and I think about them a lot.
King Charles announces he won't do an Easter message before in 1990.
You know, I have a cure to Islamophobia. I don't know if I should unleash this one on the world yet, because this is like, it's really big, and I don't know if the world is ready. But this is a cure to all Islamophobia. You see, if Muslims would stop killing people, like all the time, all around the world, I feel like Islamophobia would just stop. You know what I'm saying? I feel like there would be a lot less Islamophobia. And you know, even if you don't believe me, I think we should try it. What do you think, guys? You know, sometimes I ask myself, where are all the good Muslims out there to condemn all the bad Muslims from doing this shit? Like, I keep hearing radical Muslims, and you know, I really wish the non-radical Muslims would like condemn it. You know, instead of silently scream to globalize the Intifada and shit. You know what I'm saying?
He stated Islam is a part of our past and present. It created modern Europe. Islam teaches us all the lessons Christianity has lost.
Yes, you're right. Islam created modern Europe because modern Europe came together to kill Muslims in the Crusades. True. Thanks, Muslims, I guess. Like, what are we doing here?
Wait, what? What the hell is this? I haven't seen this.
Islam is part of our past and our present. It has helped to create modern Europe. It is part of our own inheritance.
It's AI?
It's actually crazy.
Hey, is that... No, actually, I don't know. Is this AI or not? Found the original? King Charles III on Islam in the West.
Oh my God, no way.
1993 lecture.
No way, and you wonder how they conquer us.
Medieval Islam was a religion of remarkable tolerance for its time, which was not, unfortunately, copied for many centuries in the West, has been a part of Europe for so long, first in Spain, then in the Balkans. It has contributed so much towards the civilization which we all too often think of wrongly as entirely Western. Islam is part of our past and our present.
It's not AI.
It has helped to create
I can't believe
modern
this
Europe.
is real, dude.
Islam can teach us today a way of understanding and living in the world which Christianity...
Have you ever wanted to brush your teeth with a stick? Have you ever wanted to rape a goat? Well, I have the religion for you. I'm just saying.
Itself is the poorer for having lost. Our judgment of Islam has been grossly distorted by taking the extremes.
It's been grossly distorted. You know, they fly planes into buildings and shit, and everyone's like Islamophobic all of a sudden.
The norm is like judging the quality of life in Britain by the existence of murder and rape, child abuse, and drug addiction.
How?
Should we ignore it? Like, let's be honest here for just a second. Like, let's be real. Like, over the last 1,400 years, how much overwhelming peace has there been with Islam? Like I'm just trying to be honest, just to say, I don't want to be rude here or anything. I'm just saying.
How is it that they think that Islam, this isn't a big problem, but the people in the Muslim countries think it is? The United Arab Emirates announced that it will cut funds for citizens who want to study in the UK out of fear of Emirati students being radicalized by the Muslim Brotherhood Islamists on British campuses. An Arab state now views a European state as a Islamic dangerous radicalization hotspot.
Dude, that is
There
cinema.
will come a day that we will see far more radical extremists and terrorists coming out of Europe because of lack of decision-making, trying to be politically correct, or assuming that they know the Middle East and they know Islam and they know the others far better than we do. I'm sorry, but that's pure ignorance.
How is the only people that are saying this isn't a big concern a bunch of fucking white people in Britain?
In gated communities in Britain. All right, they're not on the streets, all right? They're not the ones that are having their sisters and daughters raped, all right? These are the ones in the gated communities that don't understand what happens when you import the third world.
One of the tenets of his new sovereignty, can I be the monarch of all faiths.
Oh, jeez.
No, you can't.
Jeez.
This is what he said last year.
Ridiculous.
This is what he said last year when he did send us an Easter message. He said, on Maundy Thursday, Jesus knelt and washed the feet of many of those who would abandon him. The love he showed when he walked the earth reflected the Jewish ethic of caring for the stranger and those in need of deep human instinct.
This is too woke even for me.
Echoed in Islam. It just seems like this guy doesn't want to talk
On
about
Easter?
Christianity, not to give us
That's
a
rough,
Easter
buddy.
message.
That's really fucking rough. Listen, man. Judaism, Christianity, and Islam are different religions. Yeah, some of them have overlap. One of them worships a demon, specifically. Not trying to get into any of the nitty gritty, but the reality is, I'm just saying, they're all different, inherently different. Easter is a Christian holiday. It is not a Jewish one, and it is not an Islamic one. All right. Yes, all three of them have the same idea or principle that if you commit X crime, it's a sin. Sure. But that is not if adultery is bad, according to all of the three religions. True. That doesn't mean that, well, they're the same religion. They all think adultery is bad. Obviously, that's not the case.
On this of all years is a profound mistake.
I think it's pretty obvious.
This Holy Week, I'm proud to join with Christians across the country and around the world to celebrate
Trump's
the most
saying
glorious.
something.
Happy Easter to all. May God bless you. May God bless the United States of America.
How is the king not doing better than Donald Trump?
It's because he's woke, and woke just means you hate Western civilization. Did you not get the memo?